Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Monster Interrupted, our Pathfinder 2nd edition Abomination Vaults adventure path. Now, unlike most adventure paths, this is not 6 books. We're not going from 1st level all the way to 20th level. This adventure will take our players and characters from 1st level to 10th in a 3-book span. So this is the one of the latest and greatest of 2021 adventure paths from Paizo, Pathfinder 2nd edition. And to celebrate the fact that I looked into it without my resident rules lawyer, hats off to Joe Gibson, that has been a huge help with our Age of Ashes campaign, the Elven Portal podcast. I'm going to try and go it alone, force myself to learn the rules. And I noticed that this adventure is written in a way that it actually is rather nice to new players and new DMs, and it has a very classic dungeon crawl feel. Yes, there is a story. This is not just about kicking open doors and interrupting monsters in their day and killing them, even though, haha, Monster Interrupted is the title. No, there's a very interesting supernatural story here that the players are going to unfold as they dig into the depths of this adventure. So I've decided to go with an entirely new cast. I've nicknamed these guys the auxiliary cast because you have seen cameos from 3 or 4 of them. You've heard voiceovers for NPCs from most of them. And we have some brand new character players, core workers from the company I'm not allowed to name here tonight. So let's start with the man you've seen around lately. Finishing off his Ramagilligar Star Wars cameo in our 3rd book in the We Shot First podcast, the Star Wars Dawn of Defiance podcast, Mr. Corey Chiasson is in the house tonight.
Hey, everybody. I'd just like you to know that I'm playing a dwarven monk by the name of Cognul Admentine Bender, and my friends, they call me Newell.
Newell for short.
Absolutely.
Are you a short dwarf?
Yes, I'm actually 4'1", weighing in at 199 pounds.
The backstories provided with the player's guide, I've asked most of the players to dig into. Beyond that, there is an actual short list from the core book that also work with this adventure, which helps everyone, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you right up. The more you guys take from the adventure, the more walls you lick, the more times you guys take notes and write down every little name, every little nuance, the more you are going to get from the story, and the more the audience is going to get from us out of this adventure. Next up, we have from cameos, Samantha Curl, author of The Evening Star, book on Amazon, is now in her first leading role. Welcome to the microphone, Samantha Curl.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to be playing an elven champion named Bella Luna.
Not just every elf, though. Not just any elf.
No, I'm also a Duskwalker.
Could you explain in 3 sentences or less what that is? Because it's mind-blowing. I love these things.
So basically what it is I was either killed too soon or something happened and I died too soon, so I was reincarnated to try again.
And as a champion, which god do you venerate?
Desna,
the god of travelers, and as some podcasters would say, the flappy butterfly god. Well, you won't have anyone today. Actually, fun fact, Paizo went to a lot of trouble to change the official artwork of Desna, and it's really, really cool. You should look that up. Type in Desna, new artwork, Paizo, and it will give you the comparison and see what you think. This is moving into, 2nd edition, and moving into a more accepting open arm community, getting away from ye old times where everyone was depicted as gatekeeping and women, even the gods, were over-sexualized and that type of thing. So, yeah, kudos for Paizo for trying to, move the game forward into a new and next generation. Speaking of next generation, I would like to introduce someone who I have recently interviewed in my Attack of Opportunity podcast and have not released yet. Former game store owner and coworker of mine, Mr. Troy Phillips. Welcome to the microphone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Troy. I'll be playing a goblin witch named Narg Grin.
Oh, cool. Do you have a familiar? Got a familiar.
I do. Yep. A cat.
And what's the cat's name?
Lucy.
Just Lucy?
Well, there's other implications, but we'll call her Lucy for now.
Okay. You actually own a cat named Lucy, like a black cat, don't you?
I do, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to prop her up to the camera. I know that this is also a podcast. You won't be able to see the cat, but cat cameos are always welcome. Because YouTube loves cats. Also, from the pile of coworkers, also auditioning and has done well in some of our reboots and this and that. Now, there's these guys, Troy, and who I'm about to introduce, have worked off the books. So probably this is the first time you've seen these guys, but we have gamed together a little bit. There was like a game day we did, and everything was like, not for rollmongers, just us, to see if these guys were like interested in going from, hey, I want to play D&D, I want to play 5e, I want to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, to, hey, how would you guys like to podcast with us over here at Rollmongers? And of the people that I dug up from work too went, sure, cool. May I introduce his bludgeoning performance, blossoming performance, brand new performance, Mr. Matt Spiegler, not to be confused with Matt Mercer, very famous guy, not to be confused with our new GM, bringing out a homebrew world of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the world of Rotram, very, very soon, Jared Mercer, and not to be confused with the star of so many of my shows, Mr. Matt Witt. Big shoes to fill, Matt. Mr. Matt Spiegler.
Oh, just get to it already. My name's Matt. I'm playing an orc named Kraga. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to play. Let's play.
Short and sweet. I like that. I like that. People prattle on, really annoying. And last but not least, the COO of Dicewise Entertainment, my wife.
Hello, everyone. Today I'll be playing a elven rogue named Astra. And I would just like to state that I resent the DM bringing up that trauma of Desna.
Yeah, it was your halfling cleric that some of the guys were making fun of back in the Age of Ashes campaign. That's okay. She did go walking. Maybe it's the same year. Maybe she walked over here. Always good to have a backup character, because when people start dying, it's funny how their backup characters instantly become clerics. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so to begin, I would like to introduce you to a simple, happy little logging town of Otari. This town is, for better use of a term, right next door to the amazing city of Absalon, center of the world, home of the Pathfinder Society Lodge number 1, on the Isle of Kortos, right in the center of the world. And I wouldn't say that this place is begotten or forgotten or, doesn't deserve more than just an honorable mention. Like most places that they bother, putting on a map here, this place has a little bit of a history to it. And as our players descend into the depths, you're going to learn a lot more about Otari and its depths. But from a player perspective and from our audience perspective, I'm just pulling up the map here and I'm showing you a wonderful, wonderful little logging town. Now, as I said before, this is episode 1, where we're trying to keep it short. We are going to, I know you haven't seen this live on Twitch, but if you're listening to this by the time we get around to posting this stuff on our YouTube page, on our, anywhere you can get your podcast, Spotify, you name it, we're out there. There will be an episode 0. And if you haven't listened to our prologue, I highly recommend you do. We'll get into more of every character's backstory, the players, their do's, their don'ts, their wants, their hopes, their dreams, and a lot more about the town of Otari. But for the sake of Spiegler, who just really wants to kick open doors, I'm going to have the scene settle in on a quaint little room. And I'm going to show you a lovely picture of a lovely, lovely lady who goes by the name of Rin. And I got to be very, very careful with her last name.
Lixie?
No. Civinx. Civinix? Because I don't want to say other things that sound like this. Civinix. We're going to go with Sivinix. Rin
Oh, it's Savinci.
Savinci. Yeah, well, it's XI at the end, right? Miss Rin Sivinix is an elf, but not an ordinary elf. She is a tiefling elf with the blood of the ancient elves and some demonic or horrific heritage. Quite plain on her face, as the beautiful elven woman with long silvery hair also has rather large rammed horns, a long devilish tail. She wears a flowing gown with large sleeves and cut up red cuffs off the top of the shoulders. We actually got some Flash Gordon going on here with those shoulder and the gold motif. A bright blue sash and accoutrements, and not to mention a large star knife, possibly a follower of Desner. As you enter the room one by one, she is poring over a large table full of star charts. Without even looking up, she nonchalantly addresses someone she's familiar with. Ah, Belladonna, dear. Who have you brought me today? I wonder if the stars will think them worthy. One by one, we file in, starting with Belladonna. Would you please describe your character at a glance? Let us suppose that there is a bard by the name of Jargon Whitmore. Very nosy bard, and he's peering in a window, taking notes. Your life story. He might interview you later. Maybe he's already interviewed you in the prologue. But from that snapshot view of the window and our audience, could you describe your characters one by one, starting with Belladonna, please?
First, it's Bella Luna.
I'll call you what I want, apprentice. Oh, right.
I was gonna say it's gotten to one of those points where she said the wrong name so many times it'd be weird to correct her.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Oh, be careful with that urn. It's full of Bella Luna. You don't want to eat that. That's where it gets weird.
Anyway,
It's my little nickname for her.
Standing about 5'1", about 110 pounds. Normal looking elf, but she's got very long silver hair and faint spider web, almost like designs on her skin. They're not tattoos, it's just part of her skin.
Now, the classic default description of a Dustwalker, they always seem to have them look like this pale blue. This spiderweb motif on your skin, is this something to do with the afterlife, perhaps?
Yes, it has to do with being an elven Dustwalker. They look like normal elves, but they have that spider web markings on them, and spiders are apparently very friendly with them.
Oh, I'll keep that in mind. Moving aside the door and ushering in your first companion, let's start with the mighty Kraga.
Getting right to the good stuff, eh?
Oh, come on.
Kraga, Silver Tusk, is tall, wide, and has pale gray-blue skin. His hair is long, black, and tied up in a top knot with silver piercings on his brow. He's got silver-capped tusks, and they're huge, and they protrude from his lower jaw, and they're much larger than average. And he looks permanently enraged and has glowing red-orange eyes. You can see kind of black tattoos are visible throughout the areas of his body not covered in armor.
What kind of armor are you wearing?
He's got breastplate on, but it looks like, fashioned for like an orc barbarian. He's got kind of like fur sticking out of it and stuff, kind of like the picture.
Oh, got the fur-lined barbarian. Oh, that's good. That's good. Stooping low and squeezing in as best you can.
Sorry, he's 7 foot, 375 pounds.
Okay.
Age 34.
He's carrying a laptop because I keep hearing Windows noises. So next we have an almost opposite stature. A wee little goblin comes striding in, and a cat, just barely noticeable, darts from the doorway to far corner of a room and disappears.
You see a goblin. He's a male, about 24 years of age, which is older for a goblin, but not about mid-age, a little older. About 3'2", 65 pounds, wearing some dark kind of purplish, purpley black cloak. And you can kind of see sandals on his feet. Looks a little disheveled, like he's kind of not lived in cities much, but that's all you really see. Not much to see. Very nondescript. It's a goblin in a city trying to just get by without being noticed.
Do you have like the covering cloak, like the poncho kind of thing, covering anything that would give you away with weapons or pouches or anything?
Exactly.
You just look like a vagabond with a cat.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry, Lucy. I guess she's upset I didn't say her name properly, but at least I got that name right. Next, we have a gentleman that pauses in the doorway and studies the room and everyone in it first before deciding to enter. A certain dwarf. He's looking around. I can't hear that on the podcast, but he's looking around.
As I slowly walk in the door with my bow staff in hand, using it much like a walking stick, I look around. I come back again, my friend. And how are you on this fine day? I bring with me some friends. I intend to teach them my learnings. And what she sees is a dwarven monk with a top knot, a long red beard, dressed in traditional monk robes.
Cool. I love the picture you got up, but over your shoulder. That's like with the top knot and the salt and pepper beard and everything. But you're saying your guy's beard is red?
Yes, I need to adjust my picture.
Oh, okay. No, just so we're clear. Particular. Does your guy actually have what I'm seeing here, where they have, you know how they actually have the Asian coins with the hole drilled in it? And it looks like he's wearing these big weights on his belt.
Yes, I believe that I do.
Awesome.
They seem to clink sometimes as I walk.
No, she says, again, waving her other hand at you and just kind of pointing at a chair that you once inhabited or twice when you were in her shop, but still not looking up at the charts. Wait. Pointing at part of her map. There you are. But we're missing someone. That's strange. I was certain there'd be one more. She looks at the door. It's empty. No matter. She asks you to make yourselves comfortable. Noel, who is familiar with her and has been staying here in Otari for about 2-3 years now? Noel, you made yourself pretty familiar?
Yes.
The town and its occupants. How long have you been staying here?
Oh, it has been a long time, I think. Maybe 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Sometimes here, sometimes not, but mostly here.
Okay. Back and forth to Absalon now and again, but this place kind of grown on you. You've got to know quite a few of its occupants. They all know you, that's for sure. You kind of stand out.
Well, sometimes I am drawn back to the Fogfen, but that story is for another day. There are some interesting things there.
You know, the camera pans out to the window where said peeping bard is scrolling, looking directly towards the audience. They say the Fogfen is a training ground for the crazy and the most brave souls of all. And snaps back in through the window. As you guys make yourselves comfortable and Baluna straightens out, pointing at a terrible, terrible poison, not her, and then herself, and making Rin rememorize, which is which. A good 20 minutes pass. And then a elf appears at the door with a package under her arm. Cheryl, would you describe your character, please?
She's elven. She's got lightly tanned skin. She's got long bluish black hair. And she's about about 5'5"
Okay.
in height.
What are you wearing?
Dark clothing.
Okay. Do you wear armor?
Yes, leather.
Leather coat. Okay. And do you have any obvious weapons about your person denoting your vocation? Although currently you're on the job, I guess not.
Not that you can see.
Okay. Strange that the local guildmaster, who goes by the name of Yuzmira, hasn't officially asked you to join the Osprey Club. As a courier, working in Otari, working in Absalon, and from Elven who knows where, you've had sort of a, shall we say, a light career here in Otari lately. Whether you act roguish, wear roguish things, or people just assuming that you'll soon be added to the guild members, nothing has been officially stated, though there are a few rumors if Yasmira is some sort of patron, or you are some sort of advocate, apprentice, or, a person of interest to said guild. But for right now, you have a package for Miss Rin, and hopefully she tips well.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Okay. Laying the package on the table and going to turn as she drops a few coins in your hand. As you turn, she suddenly snatches a hand out and grabs your wrist and holds you fast. And her head, for the first time, slowly comes up from the pages of her star charts. And she says, You will do nicely. Please stay.
Ma'am?
Please stay with us. I have something of interest I believe you'd like to. And then she suddenly cranes back over her desk, looks around, points at one star, and then points at you, cocks her head like, well, maybe. Yes, please stay. Do you?
Sure.
There's a black cat in the corner, kind of doing the two paws up on its hands, going, run, run, go, run. Well, you have a chance, Let's ignore the fact the cat's talking to you,
Sure. I got a few minutes, ma'am.
Great. Baluna, would you please close the door?
Of course.
The scene fades back as episode 0 has already kind of covered this. And within a day, we find ourselves not an hour and a half march to the northwest, up a trail, past the standing circle of stones, through the woods, and out to the swamp and the fog fen, where the ruins of Gauntlight still stand. Miss Rin has asked you to explore and find her some answers. She claims that this mysterious lighthouse, which has been built in a swamp and far too inland to be valuable as an actual lighthouse to any sort of sailor or cliff edge or landmark, she says that the light once again shines. She can see it. She can sense it. And she wants you to investigate it. It is common knowledge that these ruins have been picked over by adventurers time and again. There is probably little in it for you. However, there's something compelling about her request. And maybe now, seeing the ruins in front of you, you think this a fool's errand and wish to turn back. But here the 5 of you stand, lined up, knowing each other casually, and our 5th member not even knowing why she's really involved. Welcome to Book 1, The Ruins of Gauntlight, in the Abomination, Absolute Vaults. The Monster Interrupted. Helps if I unpause things. So, may I draw your attention to the map of the Gauntlight ruin. And I am going to drop all you lovely little people into my combat tracker. And then after that, we're going to be able to place you one by one on my map. Here's my map. Oh, we seem to be missing tokens. Well, that's okay. Let's talk about our sponsor for this evening, because I don't like pogs. And I spent hours the other day swapping out the pogs that come with this, not just so that we don't look like the other video that's covering this adventure, but so that we can do a shout out and thank our sponsor, Devon Knight of Devon Knight Minis. He has packages that you can buy on Fantasy Grounds and for Roll20 and a bunch of other places, and we thank him profusely for being our sponsor here at Rollmongers, because whenever we use Fantasy Grounds, we definitely try to use our Devon Knight Minis. So, for now, let's keep things simple, and I'm just going to go with trying to find easy peasy characters. Let's have a look at the front door, shall we? Now, this place sits like a castle, and the swamp almost like a moat, and there is a peninsula with the main castle on it. In the forefront, directly in front of you at the end of the trail, is a bit of a castle house. And also to your right in the east, there is a part of said ruin that is built over the water and exposed easy access to you. Some boating, a little bit of swimming will get you across, as well as the fact that this place is easily 300 or 400 feet across, sitting on said swamp. You have the idea that the rough and crumble walls could possibly give you guys access if you care to do a perimeter check. But again, level 1, there's nothing like knocking on the front door. The scene comes down on the 5 of you discussing tactics, what little you know about each other, and how possibly you can approach this while I frantically dig up miniatures for you. What do you guys do?
My little Lucy has always told me about this place. She says we should come here often, but we've never had the chance yet. Lucy, what do you think?
The cat just happily purrs and rubs up against your legs like it's content about something. Whether or not your interpretation is that we're here or it's time to feed said Lucy, the others aren't quite certain.
I've also been wanting to come here for a while. I've been itching for a fight. Anything that I can test my Maul's strength upon.
I doubt you'll find a fight here. There's just been people everywhere. They've already scrounged this place, but Lucy says there's special things hidden. Maybe we'll find them.
Anyone else care to throw in their 2 cents?
My friend.
Astra is just going to go to the doors and have a look.
Okay. You were saying, Noel?
My friends, we should be careful what we seek. Tread softly and warily. Do not let your minds stray from what is before you.
And what's...
Don't speak to me about treading softly, old man.
I look up. Listen, little boy. You are but a small bump in the road. I do not fear you.
I eat dwarves like you for breakfast. Just stay out of my way.
Dwarf meat is not very good. You should not eat dwarf meat.
Cat starts hacking something up, like part of one of his dwarven tassels. It's been gnawed off in an earlier episode. There you go. Cat agrees with you quite a bit. Let's talk about pausing the characters and getting into the players. Does anyone have any up and running abilities that the audience and the DM should know about? Now, I know of one, and we'll get to the rogues in a moment, but everyone assume a dwarf has stone cunning. And if he gets too close to a stone, the DM, it's not automatic. And the player could say, I'm searching, but sometimes just your proximity race from either your class or an ancestry feat or something will set off a trigger, and I gotta quietly as I can pick up a dice without anyone notice, roll it, look up your stat, and kind of go, maybe they notice something, or maybe not. So, up and running abilities, things that are at will, things that are going off all the time. Let's start with our mysterious elf, Bella Luna. Oh, I love that name. Just rolls off the tongue. So easy to remember. Bella Luna. Do you have any latent abilities that...
Not that I don't think I do it right now. I was just trying to take a peek, but I don't think so.
Okay. What about our monk?
I have what you might call, or what we call, heritage of an ancient blooded dwarf. So what that means is that a dwarven hero of old, such as myself, can shrug off an enemy's magic and some of the resistance that manifests. I automatically call on an ancient blood reaction, and it says that I trigger an attempt. Trigger. You attempt a saving throw against a magical effect, but you haven't rolled yet. Your ancestors' innate resistance to magic surges. Before slowly ebbing down, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to the triggering saving throw until the end of my turn.
Oh, cool. Well,
I would agree.
I'm not going to say that I'm throwing nasty things at you, but if something pops up in the chat where it's rolling a saving throw for you, or you're called upon, please don't hesitate to bring that up, as it were.
Absolutely, I will take every bonus I can get.
Okay. Stomping away from the dwarf, heading towards the elf that's curiously looking at the door, but not touching it just yet. Kraga, do you have any latent abilities or anything that just naturally comes to you? Sorry, Kraga?
Kraga.
Kraga? Okay.
Man.
I've got lore Otari.
Sorry? Oh,
I've got Otari lore.
Otari lore, yeah? Yeah? Let's talk about your Otari lore. Give me a roll. What'd you get? As soon as you see it, call out the number, because it is also a podcast. 6. Okay. You're not even sure this is Otari. Are you? You woke up in a drunken stupor, learned everything from some 2-bit bard named, what was his name? Oh, crap. Okay. Stargazer. No. Okay, you know what? This place is just so interesting and just technically outside of Otari. If we were in Otari, you'd be the man. But technically, we're on the outskirts of town. You don't know shit.
All I can see is the door, and I'm just angry that it's not opening.
Well, speaking of our doorman, Astra, skipping up to the door, getting away from these guys, letting them have their argument. I do believe not just anyone can do a search action. That's given. And, of course, people can look for obvious traps, pitfalls, and such. And then we have rogues that find mechanical traps harder to find and magical traps even harder to find. I know you have ability that makes me roll whether you're actively searching or not. Spoils so much fun. Is this because...
Oh, you poor thing. And I happen to be a woman, not a man.
Sorry. At least I got your name right.
That's true.
Is it a rogue talent, or is it possibly a elf talent that allows this trigger? This automatic, like, oh, sorry, nope. DM's got to roll and see what we can see.
I believe it's a rogue one.
Okay. And whether you are actively searching or not, if you get anywhere close, out comes the dice. Well, I'm going to roll every time you step into a room or get to near a door, and that way you just never know.
Your rolls are terrible.
Sorry, it's DM's secret roll. It's that I know is in the ability.
It's not a secret. Everybody can see it.
No one can see my dice cam. It's just just happens. Sometimes I like to roll. We'll even get you to spam out like a whole bunch of rolls, and I'll just burn them every time you enter a room. And if there's nothing there, that roll is burnt. I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
Oh, really? You took me up on that? Okay, damn it. Call my bluff. Oh,
Whatever you want to do, it's fine.
no, it's fine. Spam away. Spam away. I don't trust the DM's rolls. My rolls are legendary. Fine.
Yeah. So it's just perception, right?
Yes.
Are we just gonna stand around staring at this door all day, or how are we getting in here?
By all means.
Patience.
Now.
There are so many things.
When we're going to learn all about the instinct dragon rage and whatever, we could spend 20 minutes on that. Make sure we do it right. So, as she's spamming away, scrutinizing said door, and pretty sure that all is well.
Oops.
That's that's fine.
Totally did not mean to do that.
That's fine. 98. What a great roll! But I see an 18, a 19, a 14, an 18, 11, 10, a 1, and a 7. That'll keep.
There you go.
That'll keep Craig happy for like 6 rooms, so we're good.
We'll take the 19.
Okay. Nodding more to herself than anyone else. Craig. Oh, you saw it. Elf nodded. All clear. You go ahead in. Why not?
I'm gonna hang back and cast detect magic just to see if there's any kind of auras or anything coming around.
Okay. What do you say, Craig? Hit that door? Yes, no?
Yeah, Craig's gonna take a try at opening it with his hands. He's gonna.
Okay. Can I have a strength check, please, sir?
Yes. That's a 14.
The door opens. A lot of these places have no ceiling. Ambient light of the day filters into the room. Now, there are roof boards, anchoring tiles, like all sorts of bric-a-brac up there, but enough ambient light to come in to say, you ever step into a barn that's a little dilapidated? I mean, there's plenty of shadow, but there is light. I mean, you can clearly see around, and you see swaths of mildew and mold cover the damp surfaces of this watchtower, appearing as green and black smears on the dull stone walls. The door frames in the walls to the north and south rotted long, long ago, while a few collapsed chairs lie on the floor and amid small heaps of foul-smelling gray little lumps. Thick sheets of dusty cobwebs hang from above, obscuring any view of the ceiling. What do we do?
My character has a lore in Roseguard, which I'd like to see what I know about this place, if I can kind of tell anything about it.
Sure.
And also, while I'm thinking about anything that's kind of up and running all the time, I am a Charhide Goblin, which gives me a bit of a resistance to burning. So I gain fire resistance equal to half my level, and I recover from being on fire more easily. So while we're thinking of things that are up and going,
Don't tell the orc that. It put that to the test, right?
yeah. All right, so I'll do a roll here for what I know on this area here. And it was a natural 20 plus 7, 27.
You got an hour?
Just some bits and pieces I can share with my
Something
friends.
tells me you've already read up on said Roseguard, yes?
Actually, I have not, no.
You have not?
No.
Okay. So
I will, though.
y-
But I wasn't too sure how when it came into effect and whatnot, so...
Well,
Yes, you did. Don't lie.
the Roseguard is the name of an adventuring group that conquered an evil that used this as its headquarters amidst, 450 to 500 years ago. Of their members, the rogue fell. His name was Otari. And the adventuring group decided to settle and build a settlement here and name it after their fallen comrade, Otari. Otari itself lasted X amount of years and fell to ruin, then was re-inhabited by kobolds, and then again fell to ruin, and then again rise to the logging town it is today. Check out the flume, where they actually have logs coming down a water chute that teens love to ride, and our local sheriff, and I kid you not, his name is Lardus Longsaddle. Say it quickly, you'll know the joke. Tries to keep teens from gaining a thrill ride by shooting down said place. The Rose Guard is mentioned with an offering. These people are the town founders, the people, the heroic heroes that conquered this place so many years ago and sent the baddie hacking. There is a lot about what they did here in your lore, but not a lot about where they came from. But there is a little bit more about who they were. So before we get into it, and like I just start blabbing out, all the bard cards, was there something specific you're hoping beyond what I just told you about this location and their connection
Just
to
any little things I could just kind of share with the group about what my character would kind of know about this area, being that my goblin has kind of lored over these ruins for quite a while without having the chance to get in here yet.
Okay. Well, what I just told you is your lore
Yeah.
and what you know alone. Do you care to share all
Yeah.
that with them?
I'll let them know kind of just the origin of the city name and basically the beginnings, and kind of leave it at that. So I'll just kind of say, hey friends, did you know that the city gets the name from one of the Rose Guard who fell here 500 years ago battling an evil sorcerer? Now, the only member of the party that fell was the rogue, so they decided to name the city after their friend who fell. Now, the city's been sacked and fallen many times since then, but it always rises back up again, and this lighthouse still stands, no matter how many times it's been sacked by different parties.
Everyone pauses and slowly looks over at the courier, our resident rogue, and then back to what they were doing. So, the room starts off in a 10-foot gap beyond the doors, spreads out 10 feet either direction, being 30 feet wide. You see arrow slits for defending, because it is a watchtower. The room closes up in a rectangle and then becomes a cross shape as another alcove, 10 foot wide, heads back to another set of rotting double doors. There is bric-a-brac above and junk everywhere. Can I have a perception check from everyone, please?
21.
24.
Evan.
Natural 20 plus 5 for 25.
Okay. And Astra?
And 9.
Okay. So with the exception of our witch and our rogue, perhaps, one's going on about the lore and someone is still paying more attention to the floor and the danger that could be traps. The rest of you notice that above the soggy ropes and planks, there's a space above cobwebs, sort of like, in all those games like Thief and stuff, there always seems to be like running vents, and what was left that used to cover an entire ceiling is just planks still embedded in the walls, like running boards. Scurrying about are 3 small figures. You see them as you hear a strange little voice echoing from the center of the room, it would seem. These little voices snicker, welcome, and welcome you some more, and suggest that you try the abundant of magic pixie mud, which are the little gray piles before you. Welcome, friends. More giggling ensues. Those who got above 12 on their perception notice that there are diminutive figures scurrying about in those boards above, though the voice does seem to come from the center of the room. Who is our resident expert in nature? Does anyone have nature
I've
trained?
got a.
I have
I have
nature
it,
trained.
Okay. Are either one of you interested in said piles of magical gray pixie dust?
I'll look into it.
Okay.
I rolled a 10.
Okay.
Can I
Do I need a
assist?
nature roll for like the things in the ceiling?
Nope. I'm just curious who was trained in nature, and then I'll pick on both you guys later. And, you were looking up at those things, and he actually missed it. So in wanders Nagrin to the center of the room. And I'm not saying he's taking the voice up on their offer of like eating this stuff, but he's
This
definitely
looked interesting.
he's definitely poking at it.
It's a bit of a smell, but what do you think, Lucy? Should we eat it?
Cat just sits down its haunches and patiently waits at you, blinking, smiling, non-committing to the yes or no.
I'll cast Detect Magic.
Okay. Your previous detect magic revealed nothing, and once again, center of the room as you begin to scan around. I will get back to you on that. What are the rest of you guys doing? Now, if you're in encounter mode, we're actually in combat. When you guys are in exploration mode, you can set yourself to tasks. We can all say we're being stealthy and we move at half movement. Takes slower, but it's pretty cool because someone like a rogue gets sneak attacks automatically, and you guys have to be noticed by anyone in the room. Now, we talked loudly outside. We came barging in. It's hard to miss the door opening, so I didn't cover that earlier. But now that you guys are here, ready to proceed, there always is the searching of the room, the giant carrot in the center, which, thank you, our, witch has gone for, that type of thing, and something that may or may not be noticed, like perception checks and things scurrying about up above. What draws your interest as a player, or perhaps staying in character? What would draw your interest most as a character? Because you can always notice something and go, hey, I don't care, but this might concern you, and at least the party gets to know, so that the party doesn't miss out on a hazard, a danger, or wonderful treasure. And you still stay in character, as opposed to having every single person going, I'm this, I'm all about this. You heard my prologue. They get 5 seconds in a dungeon, they're like, ooh, I touched this, I like this, I grabbed this, I expect this. There is a way for you guys to work as a team, as a players, to just like, make sure they know, and have the guy who be more interested in character go after it. Because I will tell you something very cool about second edition. We are not going to use milestone, even though I argued it's the better method, milestone XP, in this adventure. Because it's a dungeon crawl, there are ways for you guys to bypass levels and end up way over your heads, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to shell out XP. And unlike the old way, in second edition, you have a party do a combat, you have a party complete a story arc, or even find something significant and get 50 XP or 500 XP for the monster. You guys no longer split it amongst the party. Everybody gets that full amount. And even if, and this is just nothing against Cheryl, this is just the example they gave in the rule book, if the rogue is missing out on said combat and slips into a side room because they found a secret door and robs something and gets 30 XP for the cool gem, not only does everybody else get that XP, even though they went solo, that one lone solo person gets the XP from the combat, because everyone has that sort of group party mentality and it rubs off on each other. You all gain experience by being together, trusting each other. The secrets is just the fun character part. So don't feel you're going to miss out if you pass off a task. And I'd say don't split the party, but wow, I guess you guys can. Maybe at least a room away. But carefully don't get it over your head, because like I said earlier, this adventure is designed like a dungeon crawl where you guys could literally fall through a hole and go, well, I guess this is meant to happen. Let's see what's in these rooms, and wonder why you all end up, way in over your heads. So who wants to do what? Who wants to do what?
Kraga lets out a huge roar and an intimidation check on the things in the ceiling.
Okay.
Damn it, that was a 7.
Sounding more like a constipated belch fart simultaneously than a roar, drawing some giggles. Perhaps they're they're still scurrying away from what you let off there.
Lucy makes scarier noises when I step on her tail.
Lucy, Nagrim, and our rogue unaware of what's going on above, but you do see that Craig lets out a mighty roar. Are you like battle challenging one of these things, pointing at it, that kind of thing, like obviously drawing attention, or do you just hate cobwebs?
Yeah, I'm obviously drawing attention. I'm trying to like basically just scare them into fighting me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. Feeling the jig is up, a plethora of small stones, chunks of wood, and whatnot begin to shoot and rain down upon you through the holes in the cobwebs, and we are going to go to initiative. And the way initiative works in this is the last skill you used. So Craig took a moment to use intimidation at 7. That actually is your initiative roll, and you're stuck with 7. Most everyone else, the default is perception. And if you hadn't used perception in a while, if you've used it when I called for it, that's your roll. If no one's done anything for a while, you get to re-roll perception. You'll see on your character sheets here, it'll say perception initiative, and you can roll that now. Otherwise, you're stuck with the last roll perception I asked for when everyone comes in the room. Or if you're distracted, like our nature knowledge roll for our witch, 10, or the 7. And that's how initiative works. So, going with those rolls. Okay. Battle music is up. And at the top of the first round, we have our dwarf that was just stepped in the doorway, if at all, holding that original perception of 25. You get to go first. You get 3 actions in a round, sir. What do you wish to do, Mr. Noel? Bella Luna, you are on deck. Get ready. You go next.
Okay. If I wanted to step into a stance,
Yep.
is that 1 action? Or two?
The stance will tell you how many actions it burns. If you actually look up
Okay.
the stance, it'll tell you by
So-
the little arrows. Now,
Yeah,
if you
let me
guys come across a description of one of your abilities and the arrow is hollow, that means it's a free action. But if the chevron is filled in or doubled up, that's 2, tripled up, that kind of thing. Burns that many actions. So while he's looking that up, let's fast forward. We'll pause time, but Bella Luna. I was doing so well. What do you want to do?
Bella works.
Bella, thank you.
I guess I'm going to pull my bow and shoot.
Okay. So retrieving a weapon that's stored as an action, firing
Yep.
off a bow, I believe there's no loading, so that's 2 actions. You still have an action afterwards, which means you can take a second shot or perhaps move if you wish. You could
I was going to step a little more into the room.
Okay, you can move through friendly icons for free. Not yet. It's not your go. Get back there.
Aw.
This is your intent. Well, we're buying Corey time here. So,
Yep. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
going to move here.
Okay, here, could you describe? You're in the doorway.
Yep. I'm going to move diagonally
Okay.
to my left.
Okay, so you're actually gonna move 2 squares because the corner cuts you
Oh.
off. So,
So I have to go 1, 2.
Yep.
I have to go straight ahead and once to my left.
Yep.
And I'm going to drop into my gorilla stance.
Okay.
And my gorilla stance takes 2 moves.
Okay.
So that should be my 3. So
Yep.
essentially what you see is this little 4'1" dwarven monk drop down with his 2 fists planted on the ground in a gorilla stance. Much like you would knuckles down.
Knuckles He's
down.
dragging the knuckles. Time to get serious. I love this. I love this stance. That's so funny. And when you start using its effects, we'll excitedly talk about that then. So to start off, these things scramble around. Did his power yell, darting through the courier to the left, dropping his knuckles and covering our left flank. Because there is a guy up there. Something is up there to the left. The dwarf gets ready. Bella, pulling bow, moving through the ranks, and ending up where?
Right.
Okay. Going forward through the goblin. Watch out for those little piles. They haven't been identified yet. And stepping to the right, falling in line behind where Craig had put himself up in a corner and taking a shot at what?
Small mischievous Fae 2.
Well, we have to ID them. Now, if you guys want to actually spend a single action, You can use it as a recall action, and if you have the particular knowledge skill, Arcana, blah, 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 I can give you information, valuable information, not only just IDing these things, so we have names, and we can use crit cards on them, but things about their defenses and their offenses and such. Possibly worth better than that second shot, which you have to take in negatives. Just saying. Anyway, you move up.
And I shoot
You take up, you shoot once, you shoot twice.
once.
Would you like to?
9.
Would you like to know more about me? I like long walks on the catwalk. I like cobwebs and hurly insults. You know.
Nope, just gonna shoot.
Okay. As
9.
9. Sorry. So close.
Dang.
So close, but no. Did you want to shoot again? Now, if you do, you've got to use the next column on your character sheet. Like you'll see your weapons have like 3 numbers in a row. So the second shot is penalties. That's why the number's smaller. Third shot. So. Number 2. Okay. Now, in this game, a natural 20 is an automatic crit. No possible crit and re-rolling to confirm. 20, bang, automatic crit. Congratulations. Why, even beating their AC by 10 or more gets you a crit. But there's also failure. Natural 1 is a failure. Or with that 2, missing by 10 or more can also set you up for a critical miss. Now, we had used these crit cards in the other show, and it became crazy really fast because these come up a lot. So what we'll probably do is we'll lean into the crits, and you guys will have your choice between extra damage or the card. Always good for flavor. And the critical misses, I'm only going to use for named opponents, things like boss fights or whatever, where, the stakes are on the line kind of thing. So you guys aren't falling on top of your swords and killing my favorite NPCs like in certain other shows every other minute. Other than that, however, so what we will say, because a critical miss, there's a list of stuff I can pick from. We'll just say, you miss so badly, your third chevron, you burn it. You're kind of like going, oh, really? Or it hits the wood and it showers you with little pieces of wood, causing you to blink and refocus and, burning third action.
Okay.
So, moving down the line, it actually now at 19 is these little buggers. So, small, mischievous, unidentified Fae number 1, Bachelor number 1, would like to do something fun with our, shall we say, orc of the hour. So I'm going to call orc. Now, that's not a half orc. That's a real orc. This guy's the real deal. In case anyone's already going, oh, really? The orc doesn't like the dwarf? That old trope? No, I'm not talking about a half orc. This is a real orc, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to really try to hit him in the face with my dart. Ping. Down comes a little dart. You roar. He tries to open right for the mouth with a 10 plus 8 is 18. So he actually hits you, sir. A sharp piece of sharpened wood comes flying down and digs into your shoulder right next to, don't worry, he didn't get the fur, but embeds itself nastily in your shoulder, but not deeply. Whatever these things are, they're not very strong because even with the height advantage, that sucker should have been buried in there up the nib quite a bit, and it's not. So whatever's firing these things can't be very strong. So 4 points of damage minus 1 is 3. You automatically take 3 points. Don't worry, the tracker is already counting up your wounds. We'll let you know when you start to die.
Ha! These little beings can fight.
Pulling the using your extra long tucks to like pry between them and spit it out.
You're not afraid of me, little one, are you? I can't wait to have some fun with you.
A dart comes flying down towards Bella, our Dustwalker elf, and misses. And last, but not least, just because you look so curious, bending over, and of course you are the closest target, the last guy in the far corner takes a shot at, any guesses? Our monk.
Of course.
Of course. Does this give you any AC bonuses?
I do not believe it does, but let me just double check that.
Natural 20. You're bent over and low, and unfortunately it exposes your spine, and Buddy takes advantage of it, hurling a sharpened stone and embeds in the top vertebrae upper rib with a nasty critical with a 28. But you don't feel it because it's monkey time. D4 plus a second D4 minus 2 for a total of 5 points of damage going to our monk. And the battle rages on. Next up, we have Nargrin, our witch.
Just Narg for short.
Narg in the center of the room, and Astra, our rogue courier. You are on deck. Witch, what do you want to do?
Yep.
So are they all up in the air on the ceiling, or a couple of them on the ground?
They are all in the air. Lucy immediately bails. Just shoots out of the room. See ya.
Okay.
You know.
Nice.
I will. I'll pull out my. Where is it here? My blowgun,
Okay.
and I will take a shot at the one. Actually, I'm going to move over here first.
Okay. Now, do you have you bought any poisons or anything to put on these needles?
I did not know.
Okay, because I was going to say,
I didn't know that.
mucking around with alchemical components to cost actions as well, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I didn't buy anything to put on the darts. I just have a dart gun for now.
Okay.
So I'm going to move up. I'm going to move once, pull up my dart, and take a shot at the one above our monk friend there. So blowgun here.
Why, by all
Which attack
means.
it?
Shoot him.
And we got a 6. I think it's a -2, is it? No, I don't know if that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right. So, you got, total of 6, which misses.
Okay.
But I will set you up to keep you on that target for your next shot. Now, pulling it is 1, shooting is another. Did you want to try another shot?
I move 5 feet as well.
Okay,
I move once.
so that's taking a step, and you're good. Next, we have Astra.
Yep. Okay. So now that I am aware of these things, I pull my bow to shoot, but I also want to figure out what these things are.
Okay, so pulling your bow is an action. You start a recall
Yep.
action. Well, let's see here. What are we? I would go with nature. Do you have knowledge nature?
I have nature. I have arcana.
I would go with knowledge nature trained if you have it. Or give me a knowledge nature trained.
Okay.
Depending on your roll. What'd you get?
I have no idea what these things are. I rolled a 5.
Yeah, with a nudge to the orc's shoulder. Obviously, these are our Otarians. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Don't worry,
Let's smite
I know what
them.
it feels like.
And you would like to take a shot with your final?
Yes, I would.
And who are you shooting?
I will
You get the-
shoot small mischievous fey number 3.
Okay. How about you?
Okay.
I love how Crag goes last. He's like, fight me, and like the entire party just explodes into action, and everyone starts chucking stuff, and you're like, oh, okay.
12.
12 is a miss. Sorry, and that is your third action. You are done. And finally, the mighty Crag. What do you want to do, buddy?
Well, I'm gonna pull out my two-handed maul.
All right, out comes the weapon. One action.
It's good to see you again, Guldak. Guldak is what he calls his hammer.
Is there like a face embedded
You
on
already
it?
know that.
The big screaming teeth on the end of the maul, right?
And then I just start beating the hammer against my chest, and I
More
Go into,
intimidate?
go into rage,
Oh, okay. Ooh, let's talk about your rage powers.
which it takes one action to go into rage, so that's 2 now.
Okay.
I gain hit points equal to my Constitution modifier, which is 3.
Ooh.
So I should actually. I had two extra health points from my ancestry,
Mm-hmm.
That's why that 2 was there in the temporary.
Okay. So you get additional 2 points of damage to melee strikes. You take a negative penalty on your armor class of 1, and you can't
Yep.
concentrate on things like, so if you need to do something specific like concentrate, it's not in the cards for you. But you can seek. You can concentrate to seek things out. Right?
Yeah.
And what about like shutting down? How long does it stay up for? How long can you keep this up?
Up to a minute
Oh, okay.
if there's still enemies around. But if every enemy dies before the minute is over, then I go out of rage.
Okay. And you cannot voluntarily stop raging. Is that true? You need to
Yes.
be out of foes. So even that dwarf might be looking good at the end there. You know. Just make sure your third action is like to hold up a peace flower or something there, Mr. Knoll. Anyway, no, I'm sure it's fine. You'll all get along. Yeah, I'm sure. It'll be fine. All right, sir. So flying into a rage, you still have an action left. What do you wish to do with it? There's a height problem. They are way above you.
I'm gonna smash the wall beside me and try to
Okay.
cause him to fall.
All right. If you're allowed to seek, I think you would be allowed to seek something that might prop that up. So give me a quick intelligence check. See if you can find something that looks like a support or, something that's connected as opposed to just slamming the wall.
18.
Ooh, there you go. There is definitely something within your reach. If you go high with that hammer, 2 hands over, there's just enough of a stub of wood holding a plank. You should be able to get at it.
27.
Nice.
He buries the maul into the wall and right at this wood joint, and there's just a shattering. And like the throw the baseball at the guy in the plank doesn't come down, but it folds forward, dropping 2 creatures at our feet, and they take D6 falling damage, but they do get reflex saves to see if they can possibly grab something on the way down. So we've got mystery guest number 1 and mystery guest number 2 do some scrambling in the world of reflex saves with a 10 fail and a 23. So 1 hits the ground right in front of Craig's express train to come and fight me. Plunk. And we'll take D6 damage in a moment. Actually, you know what, Craig? You're responsible. Roll me a raw D6, buddy. And no, unfortunately, you can't do an extra 2. Just pick up a dice from the bottom, and you can roll Buddy's falling damage for me since you're directly responsible.
Which one's the... Oh, yeah, D6.
Yep.
Duh.
Okay.
I got duh.
2?
2.
Okay. Guy number 1 falls hard and rolls.
For all our French listeners out there, duh.
We do have European listeners, actually. Like we have like 10% of all our listeners are in Germany, and we have like Spain. Anyway, it's true. You'd be surprised how that joke.
Wie geht's mein Freund in Germany?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people you've just offended. Yeah, we actually do have European listeners. So 1 goes flat, but 1 catches the board, but he's hanging from the board, sort of down the wall in front of one of our bow lady elves. And that is the end of round 1 and all the time we have for in this episode. So please stay tuned next week between 7:30 8 o'clock, if forgiving some technical wind-ups. We will try to get together at 7:30. We will definitely hopefully be streaming Come Hell or High Cragwater by 8 o'clock Tuesday nights and return to us for round 2. Say goodnight, Craig.
Good night. Good night.
Hi.